Hi, my name is Muhammad Ashraf ZAMRI, matrix number 065595.
Assalamualaikum, my name is FARHANA binti ZAINUDDin. My matric number is 065976.
Hi, my name is FASIHAH binti Muhammad NIGAR. My matrix number is 066523.
Hi, my name is NORZAYANI binti MARZUKI. My matric number is 065513.
Hi, my name is MAHALETCHUMY Somasundaram. My matric number is 068825.
Assalamualaikum, my name is SYUHADA binti ADNAM. Matric number 068147.
Salam and hi, my name is Muhammad NAZMI bin Muhammad RUDI and my matrix number is 067772.
My name is FITRI bin Azam. My matrix number is 067721.
Hi, I can explain about abstract of this project. The main topic of this project is ARM and X86. ARM is a RISC, Reduced Instruction Set Computing Architecture, while X86 is a CISC, Complex Instruction Set Computing. The main purpose of this study is to learn more about CISC, Complex Instruction Set Computing, often known as X86, and RISC, Reduced Instruction Set Computing. In this video, we will go over more details on X86 and ARM, including the structures, designs, and architecture. For example, RISC or ARM is the most popular smartphone chip architecture, whereas Intel is the most popular PC manufacturer. What is the difference between the two? Everything will be discovered by observing its characteristics. The properties of X86 and ARM will also be examined in order to demonstrate how they work and to show the difference between the two components. The operation of CISC and RISC was examined in this work. ARM and X86, like almost anything else created, have advantage and disadvantage. Will an X86-based system be more dependable, or ARM on the other hand far superior? This will also be explained in this video. The goal of this study and video is to get people interested in learning more about one of the first microprocessor which we often ignore, yet are important in computer circuit boards. As a result, we can determine which is the best and most efficient and easy, helping you to complete tasks faster and execute a set of instructions in shorter amount of time. It's because deciding which of these two is superior is difficult if you haven't learned and researched correctly.
Today, I will explain about the introduction of X86 and ARM instruction formats. Apple recently announced that it would be replacing Intel processor with own ARM chips. What is the difference? Apple's new silicon chips like the current iPhone and iPad processor are based on ARM processor. The CPU employs Intel X86 architecture. The instruction set is one of the most effective instruments for improving the efficiency of the microprocessor, and the strength of the instruction is an essential indicator of the CPU. The instruction set can be spread into two portions based on the current dominant architecture. Complex instruction set CISC and reduced instruction set RISC. According to the complexity of microprocessing can be split into two categories, CISC and RISC. RISC architecture is the ARM architecture, while the abbreviation for reduced instruction set computing, RISC, is reduced instruction set computing. This means the CPU is limited to a set number of instructions. As the result, each command is carried out in a single cycle, simplifying the instruction. The X86 architecture, on the other hand, is a CISC architecture, complex instruction set computing. Story of ARM. ARM holding in 1990 float on the London Stock Exchange and Nasdaq in 1998. The new Apple ARM work would eventually evolve into the ARM6, first released in early 1992. The account RISC machine was formerly known as ARM. ARM released ARM1, the first ARM silicon, on April 26, 1985 with VLSI technology as its silicon partner.
Next, history of X86. The X86 family of instruction set architectures is built on the Intel 8086 microprocessor and its 8088 descendants. The Intel 8086 microprocessor was introduced in 1978 as a fully 16-bit version of Intel's 8-bit 8080 microprocessor, with memory segmentation as a technique of addressing more memory than a single 16-bit address could handle. The term X86 was coined because several successors to Intel's 8086 CPU, such as the 80186, 80286, 80386, and 80486 processors, all end in 86. Except for the Nintendo Switch, most desktop computers, laptops, and gaming consoles will have the same architecture in 2021, while ARM will dominate mobile categories such as smartphones and tablets. It continues to dominate the compute-intensive workstation and cloud computing categories at the high end, despite the fact that the fastest supercomputer is ARM-based and the top 4 processors are no longer the same. Early compatible microprocessors were 16-bit devices, with 32-bit devices arriving somewhat later. Around 1990, large quantities of i386 and i486 compatible CPUs, which were often named exactly to Intel's original chips, began to appear on the market. Other companies that designed or constructed X86 or X87 CPUs include ITT Corporation, National Semiconductor, ULSI System Technology, and Waytech. Time by time, these microprocessors not only practice on Earth. In fact, X86 and ARM are implemented in space exploration too. A state in the Air Force Research Labs state that in space exploration, CPUs evolve in America for the reason that these CPUs existing in software extensively abroad.
Assalamualaikum. Today I'm going to present the structure of X86 and ARM instruction formats. X86 architecture is a series of instruction set architectures that function to process a computer data. The X86 architecture is defined through the way it processes as well as handles and executed different commands that have been approved by the operating system and software programs. X86 designed as a complex instruction set computer known as SYUHADA is a computer architecture in which a single instruction is capable of performing many low-level actions or multi-step operations or addressing modes. The X86 architecture is largely responsible for programmatic tasks and services. The letter X in X86 indicates that it is an ISA version. For ARM, the ARM processor is a sort of computer processor that is built specifically for the ARM Holdings PLC model. A simpler central processing unit (CPU) architecture supports faster performance in this processor design, which is referred to as reduced instruction set computing (RISC) design. The ARM architecture supports three different instruction sets known as A64, A32, and T32. The A64 and A32 instruction sets have a fixed instruction length of 32 bits. Instead, the T32 instruction set was introduced as an additional 16-bit instruction set that supports better code density for user code.
Today I'm going to explain about X86 and RAM. X86. The Intel X86 architectural styles has evolved and changed. Following are some highlights of evolution. 8080, world's first popular well-liked microprocessor. It was an 8-bit machine with 8-bit memory data bus. 8060, the chip had a vast information path of 16-bit and bigger registers, as well as an associate degree. Many directives are prefetched in an instructions register queue before they were executed. 80,286. It has 16 MB of addressable memory instead of 1 MB. 80,386. It could compete with the complexity and power of microcomputer and mainframe computers introduced only a few years before due to its 32-bit architecture. 80,486. The device includes write protection and a built-in co-processor that can offload complex math operation from the main CPU. Pentium. The usage of superscalar technology was established when many instructions were executed simultaneously. Core. This is Intel's first dual-core microprocessor. That is, two processors are housed in single chip. Core 2. The 64-piece engineering allows for two-core processor to be placed in one chip. ARM. The following are the main characteristics of the ARM processor. Tightly coupled memory. Its low latency makes it well suited for use when cache memory is unpredictable. Thumb-2 technology. The conversion process converts the 16-bit instruction of the thumb technology to 32-bit instructions. One cycle execution time. Each instruction has a fixed length, which allows time to fetch activation functions before executing the current one.
Now I will explain about X86 and ARM major performance. ARM is a reduced instruction set computing architecture, while X86 is a complex instruction set computing architecture. Real mode, or also known as real address mode, is an operating mode used by all X86 compatible CPUs. It's derived from the fact that address in real mode always correlate to physical memory location. The X86 processor family also include a protected mode. Protected mode is a program operation mode in a computer with an Intel-based microprocessor in which the program is limited to address handful of 640 kilobytes. The difference between real mode and protected mode: real mode use both basic input-output system subroutine and operating system subroutine, while protected mode only use operating system subroutine. Now, a major performance. Advanced RISC machine, or the original is a coin RISC machine, is a family of RISC instruction set architecture for computer processor that can be configured for various environments. ARM has become one of the world's leading manufacturer of GPU. In 2019, a company allegedly shipped over 1 billion GPU. ARM is primarily measured at 4 applications, which is AI, entertainment, gaming, and SR. Now, I will explain about comparison between ARM and X86. The primary distinction between these two measures is ARM uses less silicon space and less power, meanwhile X86 provides more power and performance. ARM, per cycle, it only executes one instruction, less register, more memory, faster execution, less time, managing code expansion is difficult, and ARM mostly used in mobile devices where size and power consumption are important. Meanwhile, X86 execute complicated instructions that spend several cycles, more register, less memory, need more time to execute, code expansion is managed easily. X86 used in servers, desktop, and laptop where superior performance and stability are required.
Today, I will share about what is the advantages and disadvantages between X86 and ARM. Before that, I will tell about the type of CPU that are used by ARM and X86. ARM, or known as Advanced RISC machine, is a CPU family and based on the RISC, which means Reduced Instruction Set Computer, that can be found in a variety of electronic devices, including smartphones, wearables, tablets, and multimedia players. While X86 are developed from a CISC, which means Complex Instruction Set Computers architecture. X86 microprocessor can run in nearly any type of computer, from supercomputer to desktop, server, and laptop. First, about heat generation. This is the advantage for ARM because ARM are lower heat generation, which means ARM processor generate less heat than X86. ARM processors are less prone to overheating and require less heat management component in its device because they require numerous commands to act. This processor can perform far fewer calculations, while X86 allowing numerous complex calculations to be completed quickly make it a disadvantage of this design. It requires a lot of power to operate, and more power equals to greater heat. Second, low cost. It's also advantageous for ARM because ARM processor is low cost and affordable to develop and often do not require expensive hardware. ARM processors are frequently used in low-cost products like mobile phone. ARM is commonly utilized in set-top boxes and mobile devices. It must be smaller, cheaper, and more efficient. In contrast, X86 is expensive because X86 chips are primarily developed for laptop and desktop. They are always pushing the boundaries of technology and are meant to fit into a laptop-sized case at the very least.
And for the conclusion, technology keeps growing vigorously time by time, where in the past computers used to be the size of a bus. But nowadays, a laptop can be carried by hand everywhere around the world and also as in space. As both X86 and ARM are known as microprocessors, these are dissimilar but also important in running tasks using our devices. Roughly, most of the people around the world uses devices for particular purposes: watching videos online, submitting office work, contact people in different countries. Not only for adults or teenagers, even babies nowadays are given with tabs or smartphones to develop their knowledge and entertainment from early age. Last but not least, for current moment, X86 and ARM deserves their place in current technology development, where different is not necessarily hostile.